Our top issues for voters this year, we know, is immigration. California is home to the busiest land border crossing in the Western Hemisphere. And just last week, Governor Gavin Newsom visited the portions of California, the Mexico border, visited the California-Mexico border, and they have seen an increase in migrant arrivals just in the recent months. So during his visit, he was briefed by the California National Guard, the U.S. Border Patrol officials, and later met with community leaders at a shelter supporting migrant families out in San Diego. But voters across the state and the country, they have a lot of questions about border security and the strain immigration has on social services. So tonight we are sitting down with Sacramento State professor Dr. Cristina Flores Victor to get a better understanding of the role immigration is playing in this year's election. Cristina, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Of course, first question, why is immigration such a big issue for voters, not just in California, but really across the nation?
It's a great question. Immigration as a policy issue does tend to increase in salience around elections, and then it does kind of drop off in non-election years, but candidates talk about it more, the press covers it more, voters notice it more, and so it does tend to be kind of very cyclical around elections where it kind of comes back into importance. But interestingly enough, Latinos actually don't rate it. They rate it 6th in terms of importance. So it's lower for them than the general population, but very important in places like Iowa that are even really far from the border.
Right. Well, and actually I wanted to ask you, President Biden, former President Donald Trump, I mean, they have been very vocal about what they want to see in terms of border security. How could the Latino vote be swayed by what's being said?
Well, Latinos, they do care about immigration issue, but I don't know that they love the frame of talking about immigration as a policy issue only in terms of border security. So they want to see comprehensive immigration reform. So when immigration policy is kind of reduced down to only being about border security, it tends to really turn off, in general, the larger Latino electorate. And actually right now, the Latino electorate in polling has shown that they rate both Biden and Trump very low in terms of their approval in terms of handling this particular issue.
And I want to talk about the immigration system because a lot of politicians, a lot of voters, they say, yes, border security, very important. But really when it comes down to the national immigration system, they feel like it's outdated. So what do you think voters really want to see address this election in terms of, our national immigration system?
I think that there's a massive backlog of just people trying to do their paperwork and have their interviews and kind of go through the system and adjust their status. So I think the backlog, it's very underfunded. Also, there's a high cost to a lot of these, DACA renewals, visa renewals. So I think people think the costs are very high. It's very resource intensive. Many people, it's complicated and confusing. So I think people feel like they need a lawyer to help them, which is another cost. So I think comprehensive immigration reform, what people want to see is maybe an agency that runs smoothly and is efficient and can get people through in a timely manner.
Yeah. And you also work with the Sacramento State's Project for an Informed Electorate. Now, we know there are a lot of concerns about misinformation, disinformation for voters. I mean, what should they really be on the lookout for?
Unattributed news stories, quick kind of viral stories that are not attributed. So they need to be looking for reputable news sources, right, in their community, national or local, verified kind of journalists doing stories in newspapers, local trusted community groups, right, maybe from their own community putting out stories. But I'd say especially the social media.
That's what I was going to say. It's so hard with social media. You have one person that might post this or they see one article, just don't take it for face value is what you're saying.
Do a little bit of extra research and kind of go to the source.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I have one more quick question before we go. I don't know if you can do a little bit of a fact check here. A lot of people are saying that Biden already has the authority to stop the illegal border crossings. Does he have the authority to stop border crossings as the president?
Well, I mean, the Border Patrol, they have a lot of employees, they have a lot of resources, so apprehensions are up, but that is kind of a sign that the Border Patrol is doing what it's supposed to be doing already. I think a lot of this discourse is around people who are asylum seekers and whether or not they should be allowed to kind of come in and seek asylum or have to wait on the other side. That's part of like his recent rule change about having people wait on the other side of the border before kind of is seeking asylum here. And it seems like so far that he has had the authority to kind of keep people out while they're a part of this process.
All right, Christina, thank you so much. We appreciate it.